But first tonight to London and the latest developments in the Murdoch media phone hacking scandal. We're joined now by Europe correspondent Philip Williams. Phil, the woman who everyone expected to resign about a week ago, I think, she now has finally gone. How has she explained her departure?
Well, let's look at some of the words she's used. She said that she had a deep sense of responsibility for the people we've hurt, and I want to reiterate how sorry I am for what we now know to have taken place. But she adds, I believe that the right and responsible action has been to lead us through the heat of the crisis, but my resignation makes it possible for me to have the freedom and the time to give my full cooperation to all the current and future inquiries, the police investigations and the appearance before the committee on Tuesday. So basically, she'd become the problem. She was too much of a focus, and so she's cutting out of this so she can defend her name and the company's name. That's what she says. And
interesting that her replacement is a man not just with strong connections to Australia, but also he's really a broadcast man rather than a newspaper man.
Yes, Tom Rockridge, a New Zealand born, but very steeped in Australian broadcast history, Foxtel, News Limited, and he even worked for Paul Keating at one point. So he knows Australia well. Sky Italia, that's the current position that he runs. Sky Italia has been seen as very successful there. So he's no stranger to broadcasting, and he'll be a pretty popular choice. He's seen as a real doer. So yes, it's seen as a very capable man filling that post.
Well, before we heard of Rebekah Wood's departure, Rupert Murdoch gave an interview to one of his own newspapers in the US. It seems that he's pretty pleased with how News Corp's handled this whole affair.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I don't know which side of the Atlantic he's on when he gives these sort of quotes, because from this perspective here in Britain, where this is seen as an unmitigated disaster, it's odd to get a quote like this from him. He said that the company had handled the crisis extremely well in every way possible, just making minor mistakes. He added that the damage was nothing that wouldn't be recovered. We have a reputation of good, great works in this country. And he did say that he wanted to address next week, he wanted to address some of the things that have been said in Parliament. He said some of the things said in Parliament, some of which are total lies, and he wants to, he's talking probably there of Gordon Brown's accusations of criminal associations with some of the publications. And he said he was getting a bit annoyed. I'll get over it. I'm tired. Now, those sorts of comments have not gone down too well here. Most people regard this as an unmitigated disaster, and that he's really trying to put a very gloss on a very terrible situation for him and the company. But it's his prerogative. He's known for pressing through and usually for winning. And it's very difficult. It'd be foolish to write him off, even though he is now 80, and perhaps some people are saying he's seen his best days.
But indeed, that's what makes this whole resignation of Rebekah Brooks so interesting, isn't it? Because Rupert Murdoch is known for pressing through, and he has been such a staunch defender of her. That extraordinary footage of them walking down the street when he first arrived in London, he was asked what his priority was. He turned around, he touched Rebekah, and he said, "This one."
Absolutely, and at a time when most people expected him to say, getting to the bottom of this, solving this, making sure that those that behaved badly are punished. No, this one, and yes, has protected her right up to the last. And it was always, people wondered, what is this connection? How close is this connection? It was obviously very, very close indeed, but now it's become a liability. She's been jettisoned. And she'll face that committee as a former employee of News International.
Now, this scandal, of course, is also spreading across the Atlantic and really right to the heartland of the Murdoch empire in the US.
Yes, of course. Now there's an investigation being opened by the FBI under pressure from congressmen and from senators who've asked them to look into media allegations that News of the World journalists may have tried to hack into phones of the 9/11 victims and their families. This has caused outrage in the United States. Now, it's not proven. It's just one article in one rival newspaper that quotes one policeman, unnamed. So it's maybe not true, but it's got enough indignation going on, especially with the 10-year anniversary coming up, that an FBI investigation is underway. So this has spread. It's something that the Murdochs will not want, do without, but they can't get around.
No, Philip Williams in London, many thanks.
Thank you.